Gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisattva. Gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisattva. Gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisattva. Thank you to our great Mother Prajna Paramita for the perfection of wisdom, to realize sunyata and to exit this dualistic, illusory world of suffering, samsara, and exit out of suffering into the Dharmakaya, into heaven itself. Only through the great wisdom of sunyata we are able to exit this illusory world. Thank you to our great mother. So today I want to discuss the only way out of this world, that there is a spiritual system in how to exit samsara, how to exit this world, how to exit this illusory, dualistic world that we are living in. There is a systematic process to actually exit this world, which is also known as the rapture or ascension into heaven in the Hebrew system. And the entire Hebrew system is based on exiting from slavery into the promised land, exiting from samsara to nirvana. So that is the entire Hebrew premise, to actually come out of slavery and to enter the promised land. So the Buddhism is the same thing. Lord Buddha Shakyamuni is the one that taught how to exit samsara. That was his entire teaching premise, showing us how to exit samsara, how to realize this world is a suffering world, and it is not a world that we should be living to aspire after. There's nothing here, so we shouldn't be aspiring after this world, but that this world is actually based on suffering. This world is actually a charnel ground. It is not the real thing, and we shouldn't spend our method and our wisdom and our time aspiring after this world, having goals and dreams and ambitions based on this carnal world system, but to learn spirituality and know how to exit this world. And that's what the Buddha taught. That's what our Lord Buddha Shakyamuni, the Buddha of our eon, that's what he taught. He taught us how to exit samsara, and the main way to exit samsara, or the only way to exit this world, or the only way to exit Egypt, is through realizing sunyata, the wisdom of sunyata, also known as emptiness in English. I'm presenting the sunyata as the number 0 according to the heavenly system of our Father. Because in the Great Tribulation, in the end times, you will be tested by the Antichrist, whose number is 666, and all the technology that will be employed to test humanity will come under the number 666, the number of the man, the number of the beast, and he will test you in the end times through his technology that will come under the number 666. So that is the heavenly system of our Father. So that number system comes directly from Yahweh, comes directly from the heaven of Yeshua. So from that system, I'm presenting sunyata as the number 0. So you have to realize the number 0, you have to realize sunyata, you have to realize emptiness to exit this reality, to exit this world, to exit this world during the end times, also known as the rapture, also known as ascending to heaven, the rapture of the church. So the only way to exit samsara is to realize sunyata, emptiness, 0. That's the only way to exit samsara. There is no other way. And that's what Lord Buddha Shakyamuni taught us. And all his 84,000 teachings that he has given to humanity is based on how to realize sunyata. Because sunyata is a very advanced knowledge, and it is the most subtle knowledge. It's not very obvious. It doesn't have that gross or that tangible element to it. It's far in the distance. It's on the other shore. It's the number zero. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's obvious and tangible, but it is the number zero. It's very subtle and it's very far away from our tangible material world system. It's very far away, the sunyata knowledge. So it's basically, you won't believe it because it's zero. So that's how difficult it is to perceive it. And Lord Buddha Shakyamuni, through his birth and through his journey on this earth, and through his enlightenment, he was able to perceive the sunyata. He was able to perceive the emptiness. He was able to perceive the zero, understand it, and teach it to humanity. And because the sunyata knowledge is so subtle and it's so advanced, because it's zero, you won't believe it because it's not there. So you won't believe it, you won't see it because it's not there. So you have to perceive something like that. So Shakyamuni Lord Buddha is known to be the most intelligent person in the universe, and very, very smart, very intelligent if you read his sutras. So that's why he was able to perceive sunyata, because he was very intelligent. So this subtle knowledge is your way out of the samsara, your way out of this worldly system. And that is your rapture. There is a false doctrine among the Christian population that Christ has already paid for our sins, that we do not have to do any work, that we have a direct ticket to heaven, that Christ has shed his blood for us, atoned for our sins, and that we have a direct ticket into heaven. But in fact, that is an incorrect doctrine and a false teaching, and that is just a fantasy of the demons that can sometimes misinterpret the spiritual works or sometimes be deluded into believing those concepts that their sin has been atoned for and that they are free, that they have a free ticket into heaven. So that's the doctrine that has been propagated by the fallen angels among the Christian population. But that is incorrect. What you have to do during the tribulation, and why we even have the tribulation, and what you have to do during the great tribulation, is that you have to realize sunyata. You have to go through a proper purification. You have to go through a proper learning process. And I have explained everything, how to understand the system step by step. You can study my work. And the main thing you have to know is the three kayas, the three bodies, the Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Dharmakaya. And if you have that understanding, and if you can hone into that and understand that, you will be able to properly exit samsara through that three body system, because it's a step-by-step process. So you have the first, the Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya is your next step, and then your Dharmakaya is the sunyata space. And the Dharmakaya is literally heaven as well. You can look at that. You can see Dharmakaya as literally the Buddha field, which is our Father in heaven. Like we directly go into the Dharmakaya space itself. And that's the very tangible, realistic system of our Father in heaven, which is the heaven that we are rapturing into, Yeshua's heaven. That's the masculine, very tangible, the very form aspect of the form system, or the form aspect of creation, because you will see it manifest. Like the mark of the beast 666 will test you during the end times. They will create a technology and they will test you using that technology. So it's very tangible. And then on the polarity, you have sunyata, you have zero. So you have to overcome the 666 with the zero. So you will find this very masculine nature and the very masculine ground, the space in terms of your great tribulation and how you will be tested in the end times. So that's why you have to let go of all the false teachings, you have to let go of all the false religions, you have to let go of all the false understanding of even Buddhism that teaches Sunyata. But 80% of the Buddhist population do not know about Sunyata. They only know compassion. They only know about the compassion of the Buddha. They only know about peace and enlightenment. The world population that understand Buddhism, they know about enlightenment, but they don't know how to get enlightened, which is through Sunyata, which is through the knowledge of emptiness, zero. That's how you get enlightened. So we have the general idea or this general understanding of enlightenment for Buddhism, but no one knows. Even the Buddhists don't know Sunyata, and that you achieve enlightenment through Sunyata, through the zero. So what the Buddhists have to understand, the Buddhists that know Sunyata, or the Buddhists that don't believe in the form world, don't believe in the creator, don't believe in the God, those are false doctrines as well. Because if you go further back in history, you will know that many Buddhists know about Yahweh, know about the one creator, and know about the Son, know about the Father-Son dynamic. And in the Buddhism scripture, you also have the Father-Son Sutra. There is that Father-Son aspect in Buddhism because you have the Father-Son Sutra that you can read, which is the relative truth and the absolute truth. So the Father and Son are absolute truth and the relative truth. So the Father is the absolute truth, and the Son is the relative truth, is our everyday life. And the absolute truth, the Dharmakaya, is the Father. So that's like your Father, Son. So in Buddhism, you have two truths, and within the two truths, you can directly correlate that to the Father and Son. So the Father and Son does exist. You just have to decode it. Everyone has to come out and wake up from all these false doctrines, these false teachings, and we have to be able to view everything as a singular system, as having one Godhead, as the Father, as the Son, and the Holy Spirit, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. We have to view it in that way, and not be completely fragmented and divided into so many different spaces that we are going to find it very difficult in the end times to understand the concept of the Savior and how it applies to everyone, or the concept of Sunyata and how it applies to everyone. Because Christianity and Buddhism and all the other religious systems have been siloed and separated to a point that we find no commonality. Like it's like, oh, these are all exclusive religious systems. But in fact, they are not exclusive religious systems. They are not independent religious systems. They are derivative of each other. They are all derived from each other. So like we'll find a lot of parallels in Hinduism and Buddhism and Vedas. They're all derived from each other. There are a lot of similarities between Islam, Christianity, Hebrew. Everything is derived from each other. So like you have Christianity, Islam, they're all derived from the Hebrew, the ancient Hebrew religion of our fathers. So we have to understand it in that way and not think that Islam is it's an independent exclusive religion, or Hinduism is an independent exclusive religion. It's all derived from each other, and then we have to be able to bring it all together and understand it as a singular system that is expressed differently, or that has been propagated differently. It has been separated so much that it has become aliens to each other. But in fact, if you dig deeper and if you look at the core teachings, they are all the same. One of the main functions of the Dharmakaya level, the last level, or the Sunyata level, is that it's taught, the Dharmakaya level, it's taught as the oneness. Everything is one. Everything is the same taste for everything, or literally all dharmas are one. They are all the same. They are not different. And that's your Dharmakaya level, and that's also the premise of Dzogchen Buddhism, or Bon, the ancient. So I think Dzogchen predates Buddhism. So your Dzogchen space, your Dzogchen Buddhism is basically Dharmakaya, and it's the Dharmakaya space. And in the Dzogchen, they do not distinguish between dark and light. They accept everything. They are able to dissolve and transcend dark and light into sunyata, into the Dharmakaya. So that's your Dharmakaya. So if you want to understand Dharmakaya, you can study Dzogchen, but you will not understand Dzogchen, or you will fantasize about the Dzogchen space if you or perceive the Dzogchen space, the Dharmakaya space incorrectly, if you do not follow the Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Dharmakaya stages. So you have to first uncover the Nirmanakaya stage, the Father Tantra, and then you have to uncover the Dharmakaya, the Sambhogakaya space, the Mother Tantra, and then you can enter into the Dharmakaya. So that will be your rapture stages. So that will be how you can rapture and exit this world. So you have to follow the Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Dharmakaya. So Nirmanakaya is this world space that we are living in, that everything happens in this world. All the totality of the good and the totality of the bad is allowed to manifest in this world, and it's allowed to have visibility. And that's the Father Tantra, to make invisible things visible, to manifest all things without discrimination, because it has to be manifested, because through dark and light having visibility, we are able to directly see the naked truth of dark and light, so that we can study dark and light and follow the right path and not be tricked or fooled by dark and light. A light can be abused by dark to trick us and fool us, which is the world that we live in. If you do not follow the 3 steps, the Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Dharmakaya, you will not achieve a proper purification, because the Nirmanakaya is equally important to the Dharmakaya. Like, there is no difference, because you cannot go to the Dharmakaya, you cannot go to the Dzogchen, you cannot go to the Sunyata without the Nirmanakaya, without the gray area, without the confusion, without this world system that we are living in, that is a charnel ground. You will not enter the Dharmakaya, you will not enter Sunyata. If you think Nirmanakaya is useless, or if you think Nirmanakaya is the lower Tantra, or Nirmanakaya is like this boring, gross world, that it's so boring, I cannot wait to get out of this world. If you think that, then you are missing your lesson. You are missing your major lesson, which is the Nirmanakaya, is like the school. Nirmanakaya is the space where you learn, because our Father has generated dark and light for us to see and experience and walk the path for ourselves, to be tantric practitioners ourselves in this world, living in this world, to be able to navigate good and evil, and to gain the intelligence that our Father and Mother is trying to teach us through the Nirmanakaya space that we live in. So our everyday life space, when we do not worry about good and evil, when we do not worry about enlightenment, when we just live our lives and navigate good and evil, that's basically your Nirmanakaya space. And then if you want to study the Nirmanakaya deeper, then you have to go into like everything that goes on in this world, all the war, all the bad things that happens in our world is all the generation phase of the Nirmanakaya. So you absolutely need the Nirmanakaya, and there is no hierarchy between Nirmanakaya and Dharmakaya. They are the same. Nirmanakaya is equal to the Dharmakaya. There is no difference in terms of which one is higher to attain, because you cannot get to the Dharmakaya without the Nirmanakaya. So there is no difference. And then you have the Sambhogakaya in the middle, and the Sambhogakaya will help you to separate dark and light, will help you to distinguish dark and light, because right now the dark and light, they are the same, they look the same, and the dark is counterfeiting the light. The dark is showing up in the image of light, as it says in the Hebrew scriptures that even Satan will dress himself as an angel. So you have to be able to discern. You have to be able to discern that angel is actually a demon. You have to be able to discern all of this material world and all of these different inspiration and aspiration that we are taught to chase after, higher education, buying a nice house, becoming a billionaire, millionaire, to be a scientist, to be a doctor, to be an athlete, to be an actor, to be a celebrity, to be an influencer. All of those things are actually uh, Satan dressed in the image of an angel, or that is evil dressed in the image of good. So you have to be able to distinguish that. And Sambhogaya will allow, which is also the mother, the wisdom of the great mother, the feminine principle is the Sambhogaya, the next stage. So that will help you, that will allow you to distinguish what is what, because we have been fooled by the ruling elite to believe they are good and they're kind people, that we live in this evolving world and all these great things that they have done for us. That's what we believe. So in the Sambhogaya, you have to realize that that's not true. That is evil dressed in the image of good. And you have to be able to use your discernment and distinguish what is good and evil, and distinguish that the medical industry is not good. The corporations are not good. All these influencers online are not good people. Celebrities are not good. Politicians are evil. They're all demons. So the Sambhogaya will help you distinguish that. And you can distinguish good and evil, black and white with the Sambhogaya. And only through that filtration system and only through that purification, that stage of purification, then you can get to the ultimate pure state, which is Sunyata, which is the Dharmakaya. So that's like the purification stages that you have to go through to exit this world. So the core of the issue for our suffering or for the existence of this world, the core of the issue is that why we incarnate and why we take birth in this world, why we even have this world system, is because we do not know Sunyata. We do not know emptiness. We do not know the Dharmakaya. It's basically because we do not know Sunyata. We do not know Pragyaparamita. We do not understand the wisdom of Sunyata. We do not understand the wisdom of zero emptiness. And that's why we have this world system. So in Buddhism, they say we incarnate, we take birth in suffering, is because we do not know Sunyata. This world system that we have, this earth world system, and then all this form that exists, like we have like all the form system, we have a body, we have clothing, we have like a bed, we have this house, we have like tangible material things, like this form world actually exists to actually teach us about Sunyata, that form is emptiness. That's why the form world exists, to teach us that form is emptiness. And that's basically what the entire earth system is about. That's why this earth system, this earth world system exists, to show us that form is emptiness, to teach us the wisdom of Sunyata, to teach us the wisdom of emptiness. So they say if you do not know Sunyata in Buddhism, it is said that if you do not know Sunyata, you incur a karma. So everything that we go through in our lives, we have those problems, we have those sufferings or ignorances because we do not know Sunyata. We do not know emptiness. And that's why we have all the problems in this world. And that's basically like if you want to understand the core issue of humans, if you want to understand the core issue of human suffering, is that we do not know Sunyata. Why do we suffer? Why do we have death? Why do we have aging? Why do we have wars? Why do we have diseases and sicknesses? Why do we have poverty? Why do we have ignorance? Because we do not know Sunyata. That's the core issue. During the Mother Tantra, in your tribulation space, you will be given that opportunity to have this knowledge. And that's the great gift of our Father. That's the great gift of our Mother, is that we have been given this opportunity to know Sunyata, to know emptiness, that this world is empty. This world is based on emptiness. This world is based on zero. So what that means, so anything form, like say this is a form, so it's tangible and it has a form. So this is like a form, right? So it's like tangible and you can touch it and feel it. It's real and you can write with it. It works. It does what you want it to do, and it's form, right? But this form exists only because its software is sunyata. Its software is zero. Its software is emptiness. So that's what it means by form is emptiness. So there is a whole software behind this hardware system. So say this is an hardware, like this whole reality is based on these types of tangible materials. Everything manifests because of these tangible materials. But the software behind these tangible things, the software behind this is emptiness. It's zero. It's sunyata. So that's the knowledge we need to have. And this tangible thing, it feels real, and it's hard, and it's like real, but it's only real because we have not realized sunyata, emptiness. So when we realize emptiness, this will not be as hard anymore, solid anymore. You'll be able to cut through this. That's what you have to understand. Like this entire world system that we have, this material world system, we have like clothing, we have a body, we have like tangible material, hardcore objects. We have cars, we have planes, we have buildings, we have structures. What you have to understand is all of those are built on emptiness. So it exists because it is built on zero. The software is sunyata. The software is zero. So that's what you have to understand. And you have the binary system of 1 and 0, which is like your computer, how your computer is coded. Anything digital, when it's coded, computer based, that is coded, it is coded using 1 and 0. And so the 1 is the form, like this tangible form, that's the 1. And the 0 behind this is the software, is what holds this form. So what holds this form together? There's gazillions of atoms that exist in this pen. What holds it together is 0. And that's why you have the binary system of the 1 and 0, and everything in the computer that is used coded with the binary system of 1 and 0. So the elites have the knowledge of sunyata. So the elites know about the 1 and 0. They know about form and emptiness, but they won't teach it to you. They won't tell you those things. And Lord Buddha Shakyamuni was the first person to attain that knowledge of sunyata, and that's what he taught. If you study his Pragyaparamita text that the Lord Buddha Shakyamuni wrote, or the Lord Buddha Shakyamuni taught, the Pragyaparamita text, the Pragyaparamita text consist of this knowledge describing this whole world system is based on emptiness. So if you study the text, you will realize that Buddha was teaching that this world is based on emptiness. Its software is 0. So what holds form together? 0. What holds this together is 0. So that's why you can derive no satisfaction from form, because it's actually designed after 0. It's designed based on 0. So we cannot get any satisfaction from this. So when we try to acquire something, and we try to own something, we try to possess something, we try to give it a value. Say if I own expensive diamonds, then that makes me look rich. That's not the case, because the entire material world is actually designed based on 0. So even if you own a gazillion diamonds, the value of the diamond is 0 in reality. And we suffer when we incorrectly perceive, like say the diamond is a very expensive thing. Like say in the West, we have like the engagement diamond ring, for example. Say if we falsely perceive that that diamond ring cost $50,000, that's the suffering, and that's the ignorance, and that's where you have your duality split. When you incorrectly perceive that a diamond is an expensive thing, if you put it on, it makes you look like rich. So when we incorrectly perceive material objects and give it a wrong value, that's what suffering is, and that's what ignorance is, and that's when you incur a karma. When you incorrectly perceive material objects to have great value, You have to perceive all things as zero so that you can release all your karma with the material world. But if you, as soon as you add a value to it, it cannot give you the value that you're looking for spiritually. There is no value because it's based on zero. That's the ultimate knowledge. The material world, everything is based on zero. Everything has a value of zero. That's the spiritual value of everything is zero. Even me, I'm sunyata. I'm zero. I'm emptiness. Even the human is emptiness. So as soon as you put a price tag or an incorrect number on sunyata, that's when you incur karma. That's when you have suffering. That's when you have competition. That's when you feel poor. That's when you feel less than. Or that's when you feel ignorantly rich or better than other people. And then you have the polarity split of the rich and poor. And then immediately you have the polarity split, and that means that you fall into the Nirmanakaya system. From the Dharmakaya, that is zero, you fall into the Sambhogakaya, and from the Sambhogakaya, you fall into the Nirmanakaya. And from the Nirmanakaya is all the suffering, it's all the suffering. And then you have to live in that Nirmanakaya suffering space until you realize the Sambhogakaya and until you realize the Dharmakaya. And then you can exit through the knowledge of zero, through the knowledge of sunyata. Anything we put a incorrect value towards, anything that we put a incorrect number towards, we incur a karma because that thing doesn't give us any value because it is designed based on zero. It's designed based on zero, so it doesn't give us any value. Same goes for your emotions. Like say if you're happy or if you're sad, there's actually no value there. So any kind of emotion as well, all your emotions are based on zero. Anything, all our emotions, our thoughts, our wants, our desires, material objects, whatever it is, it's all based on zero. So you might feel really happy because something good happened to you, but that happiness is actually zero. If you are very sad about something, that sadness, it still counts as zero. So all our experiences are zero, negative and positive. Our experiences are zero. Both the negative and the positive ultimately leads us to sunyata. The negative and the positive are both viewed as sacred, are both viewed as dharmas, are both viewed as a path to enlightenment, a path to the Dharmakaya, and a path to realizing sunyata. Either learn through darkness or you learn through light. It's the same thing. Like some people, they study hard and they meditate and they renounce the world, they denounce the world, and they learn the system, they work really hard, they use their mind, like the Lord Buddha Shakyamuni and all the monks. That's how they learn and they attain the knowledge of sunyata. Similarly, the dark, they don't do that, they don't do the learning, but they attain it through a different way. They attain it through like it's doing something bad and paying the price for it and ultimately realizing they shouldn't do that. Either way, good and bad are equal, and good and bad will lead you to sunyata. So like say you can say all the bad people are not that smart and they would have to go through all these negative things and they acquire so much karma and they have to go through all these negative things to finally get to the Dharmakaya. And for the smart people, they would understand sunyata, so they don't have as much karma as the dark people. So they would understand sunyata and they would go in and they would learn and they would renounce the world and they would understand and they would want to learn. So they would not have as much karma as the dark people, because the dark people don't accept sunyata. They're like, no, this tangible thing is real. My pain is real, my suffering is real, my happiness is real. This is real, this is real. And they will hold on to it. It's like, I can see it, I can feel it, I can touch it. How can you say this is sunyata? How can you say it doesn't exist? And those are the people that suffer. And those are the people that have the greater karma because they are dumb and they are ignorant. So sin comes as a result of ignorance. Sin is not its own thing. Sin only happens as a result of ignorance. If you don't have ignorance, you don't sin. If you have knowledge, you don't sin. If you have understanding, you won't sin. You only sin because you don't have knowledge. You are ignorant and you believe like form is real, this is tangible, it's real, it has value. Then sin comes as a result of believing that this tangible world is real, or it comes as a result of not knowing sunyata, that everything is empty. When we don't realize everything is empty, we chase after those things. Like, say, for example, we chase after sexual fulfillment, we chase after desire. We want a hot guy, or we want a hot girl, or we want a nice car. And we don't know those things are empty. We don't know the feeling of sex is emptiness. We don't know happiness is emptiness. We don't know entertainment is emptiness. We don't know the structure of the whole house. It's based on emptiness. We don't know diamonds are emptiness. We don't know that, so we chase after them. That's what the ignorance is. And to acquire that, people do crazy things to acquire those things. When we know that, like, say, sex is emptiness, feelings are emptiness, desires are emptiness, our thoughts are emptiness, our hatred is emptiness, this entire material world system is based on emptiness, all tangible structures are emptiness. When we realize that, then we automatically won't chase after them. We won't chase after them. And because we realize, oh, it's all empty, it's all zero, so I cannot derive anything from that because it's zero, and it's only there to serve a function. It's not there to fulfill my desire. It's not there to make me happy or make me sad. It only serves a function. I only use something because I need it. I don't have to own it. I only have clothing because I need it, and it's not because I desire to have lots and lots of clothing and I aspire to be a fashionista, but I only have clothing to cover my body, and it's the function aspect that is the correct form. But as soon as you put desires and feelings in the form, that's when you have the ignorance, and that's when you have the suffering, because it doesn't matter how much clothes you buy, it won't make you happy because it is empty, it's zero, it's based on zero. The form world is designed in zero. The software of the form world is zero. So it doesn't matter how much diamonds you buy, you're not going to be happy because it's based on zero. It doesn't matter how many hot boyfriends you have, you're not going to be happy because your boyfriend is based on emptiness, hotness is based on emptiness, and your desire is based on emptiness. Everything is empty. It doesn't matter how much sex you have, you will not be satisfied because it's based on emptiness. And that's why we are not satisfied, because everything is designed on zero, on sunyata. Everything is designed on sunyata. And sunyata is the feminine and form is the masculine. So the form is the one and the sunyata is the zero. So right now in this world, we live in an incorrect form world because we only have the form knowledge, or we only have the form system. In the tribulation, you will be introduced into the sunyata system. You'll be introduced into the zero system. So with your binary system that we live in, the 1 and 0, we are currently only living in the 1 system. But in the Sambhogaya and the Great Tribulation, you'll be introduced into the 0. So you'll have the binary system properly at that stage. So you'll have both the 0 and the 1. So you'll have the binary system properly at that stage. That's the masculine and the feminine, the 0 and the 1. So the 1 only exists because of the 0. If there was no 0, that 1 doesn't exist. Everything, the whole universe exists because of the 0, because of emptiness, because of sunyata, because that's how it's designed. It's like, just look at the computer system of 1 and 0 and go study that, and that will give you a direct insight into the concept of form and emptiness. 1 and 0 is form and emptiness. The binary system of 1 and 0 is form and emptiness. So you can have a direct tangible insight, direct tangible knowledge when you understand how the computers are coded through 1 and 0, through the binary system. And you can apply that directly into our form world system because that's what it is. And the computer systems, they are not outside of the spiritual system. Everything is part of the system of our Heavenly Father. Everything is part of Yahweh. Yahweh tells the Antichrist to do the mark of the beast, to do the financial technology, because we have to be tested in terms of the material world. So the financial system, the money, is basically the core of the material world. So if you don't have money, you can't have food, you can't have clothing, you can't have anything, not even like one pen you can have if you do not have like money. So everything is money. Like even the smallest thing you need money for. So you can say like the money is the center of the material world. So Father will use the money system to test you. The money system addresses the entire material world. So because we are in this form system and our karma is to the form, our karma is to our father, our karma is to the masculine, because we don't know the feminine. We have not realized the emptiness. We have not realized form is emptiness. So our karma is to form. So our father form will test us through money, through the financial system, with the mark of the beast 666, which the Antichrist will be doing. So because money addresses the entire form system, because you cannot have even a singular form without money. That's how you have to approach the end times, and that's your personal battle with the Antichrist and our Father in heaven, and your personal battle with Sunyata, because if you are being tested within the form 666 mark of the beast financial technology, if you're being tested within that system, within the material system, you have to realize Sunyata to overcome that. So Sunyata 0 will overcome the form system. That is your personal journey. That's your personal spiritual journey with Sunyata, your personal spiritual journey with the Antichrist. The number of the man is 666, your personal journey with the man, and your personal journey with Yahweh, our Father in heaven. Your personal journey with the masculine and the feminine. Understanding the correct masculine. How do we gain the correct masculine? Is by knowing form is emptiness. So we have the correct masculine. If you want Yeshua, Son of God, if you want the Savior to save you, if you want the Savior to take you to the Dharmakaya, to heaven, you have to realize form is emptiness. If you follow the wrong form, which is the Antichrist, if you follow him, he doesn't have emptiness. Antichrist doesn't have emptiness. 666 doesn't have emptiness. So if you follow him, you will go to hell. You'll have to pay to Sunyata and Yeshua in hell. But if you want the right form, if you want the correct form, you have to realize emptiness. So if you want Yeshua, if you want the Savior, you have to realize Sunyata, because that's the correct form. The correct form is emptiness. So form and emptiness, Yab Yam, Yeshua and Sunyata. You have to realize the correct form. And that's your tribulation ground. It's realizing the correct form. And the correct form is emptiness. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. The Heart Sutra. If you follow the mark of the beast 666, that's the incorrect form. That's this Nirmanakaya state that we are living in, the suffering world. That is form without emptiness, or the incorrect form. That's your tribulation ground. So not knowing Sunyata, we immediately incur a karma because we believe this form world is real. We give incorrect valuation to form, and we do not go by function, but we chase after desire, we chase after status. It's like, if I get a big house, that will make me feel good, and that will make me look good in my society. Or if I drive a nice car, that fulfills my desire, that makes me look good among other people, that makes me feel like I'm more successful than someone. We incorrectly chase after our desires because we put an incorrect value to form. So that's where the trouble is, and that's when we incur a karma to form, to Father, because we have perceived that incorrectly. Like Yeshua, Son of God, said, take only what you need. If you take more than what you need, you will have to pay it back. And Yeshua is speaking as the authority of form. He's speaking as that. And he said, if you own lots and lots of things, you cannot enter heaven. Only someone that doesn't own anything, it'd be very easy for them to enter heaven, versus a person that owns lots and lots of stuff, you won't enter heaven. So that's Yeshua speaking as empty form. When you understand form is emptiness, then you'll realize you do not derive anything positive or negative from that. Even if someone takes away something from you, it doesn't affect you, because form is emptiness, because it's zero. How is it going to affect you? It's zero. And even if someone gives you something or you own lots and lots of stuff, it's zero. It doesn't affect you and it doesn't change you as a person because that form is empty and it only serves a function. It only serves a purpose. If there is a pen, the pen is there to write. It's not there to satisfy you in any way. It's not there to fulfill a desire. The function of a pen is to write. The function of clothing is to cover your body, keep you warm, keep you cool. That's it. It's not there to do anything outside of its function for you, but your incorrect perception of the idea of clothing can give you a lot of suffering because people compete a lot with their clothing and they work hours and hours. They work so hard to buy expensive clothing. They feel like they are fulfilling a desire, but that desire is temporary and fleeting because ultimately you realize that it is just a piece of clothing that costs a lot of money and that the actual value of the clothing is zero. It's emptiness. All of these we have to restructure and reposition our mind and perceive this entire world system as zero, that you do not derive any satisfaction. You do not have any gain from the material world because the material world is built on zero. It's built on sunyata. It's empty. In Buddhism, when we study Buddhism in English, when we study Buddhism in the West, or when we study Buddhism in English generally, sunyata is translated as emptiness. So when you go online, if you look up form and emptiness, that's how they chose to translate sunyata as emptiness. But it is not accurate. And if you want a more accurate translation of sunyata in English, you can use the word zero. You can perceive emptiness as zero. So not empty like an empty container like this. It's empty, there's nothing there. But it directly translates to zero. In English, if you want to translate sunyata, it directly translates to zero because it's zero. And the word sunyata in Nepalese has the word sunya. So sunya means zero. The number zero is present in the word sunyata, which is sunyata, sunya. Sunya is there. And sunya also means silence. And so sunyata is like zero is silent. So everything is form and emptiness. Everything is form and emptiness. And form only exists because of emptiness. So if you want to look at form and emptiness in a deeper way, how you can perceive it is that for example, when I'm speaking each word, I can only speak one word at a time. That makes a whole sentence. So if there was no emptiness, then I cannot speak one word at a time. My words will overlap. And if that's your form world, it will overlap if there is no emptiness. The word will overlap. But because there is emptiness, we can speak one word and the next word and the next word and the next word. And because the first word dissolves into emptiness and the next word comes out, then that word dissolves into emptiness and the next word comes out. And then you have like the string of sentence. And that's how we communicate. But if there was no emptiness, your words will overlap. Your words will like pile up one against the other. And your sentence won't come out and it won't make any sense because there's all of these words overlapping each other. So we won't be having this type of speech system if we didn't have the emptiness. And you can also directly correlate that to the time or clock, that the second hand moves like tick, 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 like that, and it doesn't stop. As soon as it stops, the whole time stops. Sunyata is like that. It just keeps going one after the other. It keeps going. It doesn't stop. It keeps going. So it's like when we speak one word at a time. It's like the clock when it goes tick, 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 like that. And it's like continuity. And that's your continuity. So continuity takes place in sunyata. When you have thoughts, is the same thing, or when you have imagery in your head, is the same thing. It's like you can only have one image at a time. You can only have one thought at a time. You can only do one action at a time. You can only feel one feeling at a time. You cannot feel happiness and sadness at the same time. You cannot feel two feelings at the same time. You only feel one feeling. You only feel one emotion. You don't feel multiple things. You don't feel hot and cold at the same time. So you only have one thing taking place at a singular time. You only have one thing happening, and you do not have multiple things happening. It's the same as the speech. We only speak one word at a time. Um, we can only do one thing at a time. We cannot do multiple things. The clock only moves like 1 second at a time. So it's the same thing because everything dissolves and arises in sunyata. So the previous word that we spoke dissolves in sunyata, and the next word arises, and then that word dissolves in sunyata, and the next word arises, and then we can form a sentence. And it's the same with time. You have to dissolve time for the next time to arise. So we have to dissolve the father tantra for the mother tantra to arise. And from the mother tantra, after mother tantra arises, we dissolve that and we go into the dharmaka, and the dharmakaya will arise. And then that's in the sunyata is the space that you want to be in, and sunyata is the place you want to abide in. And to the point where it just becomes second nature, and you are just trained in the sunyata, and it becomes second nature, and you just live in sunyata without trying to understand it, like meditate and harness it or whatever. You cannot harness sunyata. Sunyata already exists. It's just that we have a temporary block. We have obscurations. So there are two blocks. There are two obstacles called two obscurations in Buddhism. You have the gross obscuration, which is the tangible, your 5 aggregate obscuration. And then you have the cognitive or the intelligence obscuration. So there are two obscurations in Buddhism. You have the gross and the subtle obscuration. So those two obscurations, those two obstructions, so to obscure your view, to obscure your understanding. So it's like to obscure something, it's like an obstacle. So those two obstacles, the gross and subtle obstacles, it's temporarily blocking your sunyata view. So once you remove the 5 aggregates obstacle, which is your gross obstacle, and your cognitive intelligence subtle obstacle, once you remove those two through your spiritual practice and purification, and once you remove the 2 obstacles, you are able to correctly perceive sunyata. So sunyata is a pre-existing space. Our mind is sunyata. Like if you go and meditate and observe your mind, the mind doesn't exist. It's empty. It's totally empty. That's emptiness. It's easy to recognize emptiness. It's very easy to see emptiness, but we have to understand, someone has to literally come here and tell us this is emptiness. The form is 1 and emptiness is 0. That was like Lord Buddha's work, literally showing us and teaching us this is emptiness. So we know our mind is empty when we meditate. Close your eyes. Our mind is empty when we go to sleep. We don't have any thoughts. We just sleep. We completely check out. That's basically emptiness. That's completely empty. Everything is empty. Like this air is empty. We can speak into the air because there's no sound here. It's empty. So those things are easy to understand, but we do not know the mechanism. We do not know the math. We do not know the physics. We do not know the intelligence behind emptiness. So that's what the Lord Buddha was doing. And he literally gave us the teaching of emptiness. It's like, this is what emptiness is. This is how you perceive it. This is the science and math and the physics and the intelligence and the history and the geography and the everything of emptiness. Like, this is it. And he gave us the 84,000 teachings on emptiness. So we have to be able to understand it, and we have to be able to articulate it. We have to be able to basically manifest the teaching of emptiness, which Lord Buddha did. You have something so great such as emptiness, but we do not know what it is. And that in Buddhism is described as having wealth under the ground. So like, say if you have a house and there's this huge gold mine under your house, but you have no idea. You have this huge gold mine under your house. So that's how it's described. When you do not know sunyata, that's exactly what it is. It's like you have this Buddha nature inside of you, but you don't know. You have this gold mine under your house, but you don't know about that gold sitting right under your house. And that's how sunyata is. So sunyata is just here in our brain. Sunyata is just in our mind. We are made out of sunyata. Our body, speech, and mind is sunyata. All objects are sunyata. This is sunyata. Everything is sunyata. But we do not have that knowledge. And that's what Lord Buddha was showing you. So it's like, guys, you got this massive gold mine under your house. Do you want to check it out? That's what Lord Buddha was showing you. That's what Lord Buddha's teaching is about. It's like, you guys have sunyata, you guys have emptiness, zero. That's basically the entire universe is structured with zero. And you guys have that knowledge. So Buddha is trying to show us that and teach us that. So sunyata is the highest and the most sacred knowledge. There's nothing higher than the knowledge of sunyata, and that is the most supreme intelligence. And if you do not know sunyata, there is just like every possible thing under heaven and above hell that could go wrong for you if you do not know sunyata. And that's the danger of not knowing sunyata. That's the danger of ignorance, because intelligence is infinite. So your ignorance can create infinite number of suffering, an infinite number of negative situations, infinite number of delusions, which you might believe you're happy, but you're not. Those are delusions. You might feel you're rich, but you're not, you're poor. You might think you're smart, but you're dumb. And that's the delusion that we're living in. All the happy, smart people of this world, they are living in a delusion. They're living in an illusion. They believe things incorrectly. They see the world upside down. And they attach incorrect feelings and incorrect values towards things that have no value, because everything is zero. Everything is sunyata. When I was listening to this Rinpoche, I don't know the cultural background of him, but he teaches in Nepalese. And I was listening to all his teachings because it's everything. It teaches you all the steps of Buddhism. And I was listening, like I listened to everything that he's taught. Then he was saying, we incur karma, we incarnate in this world because we do not know sunyata. And that's like the major teaching of Buddhism. But you want like 90% of the Rinpoches of this world probably don't know it and they don't teach it. This Rinpoche was talking about it, and I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. And then later, when I advanced in my spiritual journey, I realized that's basically the heart of everything. Like not knowing sunyata, yunkyora karma is the core of everything. He teaches in Nepalese, and I learned like the most important things for my spiritual journey through him. And then there was this other teacher. He was teaching Dzogchen. And he was saying that after you realize sunyata, after you realize emptiness, that's when you have abilities that you can walk through walls, you can walk on water, and you can walk on space. Because Buddha had those abilities and Christ had those abilities as well. But Buddha was taking many forms. He was walking on, just walking on air. He was walking on water. And he was doing all of these different, he was displaying all of these different physical miracles because he attained the knowledge of sunyata and he completely understood it. And what happens with that is like once you have the sunyata knowledge, once you realize this world is zero, that's when you can penetrate literally the physical walls. Like you can penetrate structures like these hard structures. When we perceive, like say this is like a hard structure, I cannot like bend it or I cannot do anything to it. It's because my mind has not completely realized sunyata. So say I cannot walk through walls. I cannot, because my mind hasn't completely understood sunyata. So when your mind completely realizes sunyata the way it should, then you can walk through walls because sunyata is zero. So the form becomes zero. That's how the concept of walking through walls, walking on water, and walking in the air, that's where it comes from. So there's no such thing as gravity. So gravity is false. Why we live in this tangible world and why we can't walk on the air and why we can't fly is because we have not realized complete sunyata. We believe in the form world. And that's why we walk on the ground, because we do not know sunyata. We believe in the form world. As soon as you have the complete understanding of sunyata, the form laws change, because in your software, your internal software changes. Your inside, your Holy Spirit software, it changes. So your outside world changes as well. So when you have the Holy Spirit Sunyata software inside of you properly integrated in its complete form, then the form world changes, because you are on your inside, you are zero, and on the outside, you can walk through worlds, you can walk on water, you can walk in the air, because the form world rules don't apply to you anymore. We are only stuck in this form world. We are stuck in this world because we do not accept zero and we do not understand zero. Like, say, for example, the ruling elite, they know zero, but they do not know how to apply it. So for that reason, they are reliant on the physical structures of this world. Like, you need a helicopter to fly. Like, say, the ruling elite, they can't fly. Buddha was flying before when he was on earth. He had abilities, and all these monks, they had all these abilities. They could fly. They didn't need cars. They didn't need planes. They just flew from one place to another. So the ruling elite, they need like helicopters, and they need fast cars and expensive cars to go from one place to another. And that's not cool. What's cool is that when you realize Sunita, and you can just go anywhere you want, you can just fly. But you are stuck in the form world. So when you need airplanes and cars and this and that, you are part of the form world. You're stuck in the form world because you believe the form world is real, because you have not realized Sunyata, and you have not uploaded the Sunyata software inside of you, and you have not realized Sunyata. So this world becomes tangible and becomes real for you. So whatever you have inside of you, whatever software you have inside of you, outside is the manifestation of that. Outside is that's the environment that you are in. So once you have the complete realization of Sunyata, once you attain your complete zero, then you can walk through worlds. Yeshua, Son of God, Jesus Christ, after he attained his resurrection, he was able to walk through worlds. So you will see in the Bible, in one of the stories, they say Christ was just like entered this room, and he did not come through the door, but he just came through the wall. So because he attained Sunyata, he realized zero, and in its complete form, and then he could just walk through worlds. Maybe previously he couldn't walk through worlds. Maybe he could walk on water, but maybe there are different levels to this. There are different layers, and that you have to keep going through your subtle obscuration. You have to keep purging or keep purifying your more subtle obscuration. The Sunyata is this ultra subtle knowledge. It's basically zero. You're perceiving something that's not there. It's zero. So it's the ultra subtle knowledge. It's like the subtle knowledge, and to get there, you have to really purify yourself so that you can upload the zero inside of you, and then you can walk through walls, and you can walk in the air. And I think that's where the concept of the rapture comes from as well, is because in the rapture, we will actually just fly and go to heaven. You will walk on the air, or in Buddhism, they have the concept of the takini, which is called the sky goer, or the sky dancer, or one that dances or walks in the sky. You have the emptiness with the takinis that walk in the sky because they are empty, and let's say the physics rule don't apply to them. And physics is incorrect anyways, because once you realize Sunyata, the physics of the world won't apply to you. This concrete physics applies to you right now because you believe, your internal mental software believes that this is a concrete world. And when you realize emptiness, when you realize zero, you actually can walk on water, you can walk through walls, and you can walk on the sky, or you can just fly from one place to another. Gravity is fake. Gravity doesn't exist. And the knowledge of Sunyata disproves gravity. Gravity is simply us stuck in the form world, stuck in samsara. That's your gravity. So there is no actually physical gravity itself, but just that we do not understand form. We do not understand form is emptiness. We do not understand the knowledge of zero. And that's why we are literally stuck in this world. through our brain. We are stuck through our mind, and we are not stuck because of some gravity, some external force on the ground. We are not stuck in this world because of that. We are stuck because of this. We are stuck because of the software we have inside of us. So when we change this, when we change our mind, when we change that to zero, then we can fly. Then the gravity won't apply to us. Or then you realize the gravity doesn't exist. We are only stuck in this world because of our ignorance, because we lack the knowledge of sunyata, and we are stuck in this concrete world. And once we upload the correct software, then this form world will be completely different for us, and the way we engage with the form world will be completely different to what we have in this reality. So everything, sunyata addresses everything, and sunyata it's basically the only thing that will lead you out of suffering, the only thing that will lead you out of this world into the dharmakaya, the only thing that will prevent you from committing sins, unknowing sins, prevent you from ignorances, prevent you from wrongly perceiving good and bad and living in an illusory world and wasting your method and wisdom. All the problems, absolutely everything that we struggle with in this world comes as a result of not knowing sunyata, comes as a result of not knowing emptiness. So what allows us to cut through solidity? What allows us to walk through walls? What allows us to change our dynamic with the form world is realizing sunyata. So that's the knowledge that will be given to humanity during the end times, and we have to realize sunyata in that regard. Many people say that people are afraid of sunyata, like people are afraid of the concept of sunyata, that, oh my God, the form world doesn't exist. What do you mean the form world doesn't exist? Everything is empty, everything's zero. Like, oh my God, it's so scary. It's a mirage, it's an illusion. They say people are afraid of the knowledge, like literally afraid of sunyata. Like a lot of Buddhists before, back in the day when they were studying Buddhism, they were afraid of sunyata. They didn't want to believe that the world is empty. There's also a step in Buddhism that you have to overcome the fear of emptiness. You have to overcome the fear that this world is empty. So it's a legitimate fear that a human being can have, or other beings can have, that form is emptiness. So they should not be afraid of emptiness, because emptiness is actually something that prevents you from suffering. Emptiness is something that prevents you suffering, that prevents you illusion and delusion. It solves all your problems. It helps you walk through walls. It can make you fly. It helps you go from one place to another. It makes you free and independent. You don't have to rely on anything or anyone. All you do is you rely on emptiness. You rely on the Great Mother. You rely on sunyata. And it's actually a good thing. So when people say, oh, I'm afraid that everything is empty, I'm afraid that the form world is empty, you shouldn't, because emptiness is like the ultimate medicine. It's the ultimate cure-all. It will cure things that you don't even know that you had. So it prevents everything, all the suffering, all the war, everything, all the greed, all the attachment, all the greed of the corporations, all of that. If they realize form is emptiness, they would not want to possess and waste their time building corporations that do nothing. They would realize sunyata, and they would exit this reality and go to a place where it's like a perfect peace and perfect paradise, and not living in this charnel ground, building corporations thinking that you're working hard and that you're rich and capable. But you're not. You're just wasting your method, you're wasting your wisdom, you're wasting your time. You are in servitude to your own ignorance. But realizing sunyata, you will be in a better position. You will alleviate all your suffering, all your ignorances, all your attachment, all your greed, everything that comes with this world, with this charnel ground, and all the gazillions of child trafficking, and every problem that we have on this world, that unimaginable evil, everything will be solved by realizing sunyata. So sunyata is not something that you should fear. You only fear sunyata when you are attached, when you're holding on to form, and you're like, I cannot let go of my wealth because it makes me happy, but that all that money is zero. All that wealth is zero. Everything that you own is zero. It cannot give you happiness. It's just ignorant to think you are happy with that wealth, with that education, with that house, with that car, with that relationship, with that family. It's all empty. Every human being is empty. Every emotion is empty. Um, Everything is empty. So it cannot give you anything. It literally cannot, because your parents cannot give you enlightenment. Your parents cannot cure your cancer. Your parents cannot solve your divorce problem. Your parents cannot give you a happy family that you want. Your parents cannot take away your suffering and your diseases and solve your financial problems. They cannot do that. Like literally, they cannot. So it's all empty. It's just a delusion. So you have to rely on Sunyata. You have to rely on the Supreme Mother, the wisdom itself, the wisdom of emptiness, the wisdom of zero, Sunyata. And Sunyata will solve everything. What your mother, father, your partner, your children, your therapist, your doctor, your lawyer, your government cannot give you, Sunyata will give you. So there's no reason to fear Sunyata. There's no reason to fear Sunyata. Sunyata will solve everything, and Sunyata will give you more than what you ask for. Sunyata will take you to the Dharmakaya, to our Father in heaven. Sunyata will allow you to meet and see Christ. If you don't realize Sunyata, if you're afraid of Sunyata, then your fears will manifest and you'll go to hell because you were afraid of Sunyata, and your fears will become real. And because of that, you will go to hell. If you're not afraid of Sunyata, if you accept Sunyata, if you accept form is emptiness, then you will meet Yeshua, whose form is empty. You will meet him and he'll take you to Father. He'll take you to the Dharmakaya. So if you want to have the correct form, if you want to have the correct masculine, because form is masculine, you have to realize Sunyata. The software for Yeshua, Son of God, is Sunyata. The wisdom consort for Yeshua, Son of God, is Sunyata. So if you do not have the software, you cannot have the hardware. If you do not have Sunyata, you cannot have Yeshua. If you want Yeshua, if you want Jesus Christ, you need Sunyata. You need emptiness. You need zero. Otherwise, if you do not have Sunyata, and if you believe in the incorrect form, you will get the Antichrist, because Antichrist is the incorrect form. Yeshua, Jesus Christ, is the correct form, because Yeshua has Sunyata. Antichrist does not have Sunyata. Antichrist has the whore of Babylon. So if you are abiding by the rules of the whore of Babylon, that energy, that spirit of the whore of Babylon will take you to hell. That's why our Father said, come out of her. So you have to come out of the whore of Babylon. You have to come out of this material world and realize zero. And then you can have the correct form. Yeshua, Son of God, is the correct form, because form is emptiness. And it is written in the sutras, no one's made this up. Lord Buddha Shakyamuni himself, Yahweh our Father, came down to this earth and gave us this knowledge through attaining it through his enlightenment. When Lord Buddha Shakyamuni meditated under the tree for 6 years, and he fasted for 6 years and meditated under the tree and did not move from the tree for 6 years, he basically snuffed out, you can say. Nirvana is perceived as like when you blow out a candle, the candle completely snuffs out, it turns off and it becomes dark. That's how they perceive like nirvana. It's like snuffing all your desires out, snuffing all your intelligences out, snuffing everything that you can see through your eyes, nose, mouth, ears, snuffing that out. It's like blowing out a candle. So you can say Lord Buddha Shakyamuni, what he was doing under the tree for 6 years was he was blowing out the candle for every clay, for every imaginable positive and negative emotions within us. So he was snuffing it out. He was blowing out the candle for everything. So what happens when you snuff out everything? When you blow out everything? What happens if everything gets turned off? Everything that your eyes can see gets turned off. Everything that your nose can smell, your mouth can speak, your ears can hear, all of those gets turned off. Everything that your mind can think, your mind can conjure up, snuffed out, turned off completely. What happens if you snuff out everything, absolutely everything? If there are 84,000 emotions, 84,000 kleshas, 84,000 impurities within our bodies, and Lord Buddha Shakyamuni sitting under the tree fasting for 6 years, snuffed out the 84,000 impurities of the human body, what happens? You snuff out everything, you get to the zero. And then you perceive the darkness, you perceive the zero. You perceive the zero because you turned off everything, absolutely everything. It's off, it's zero, it's turned off, it's pitch black. And then you perceive the zero. So that's what Lord Buddha Shakyamuni was doing under the tree for 6 years. That's how he attained the Sunyata knowledge, by snuffing out everything, snuffing out the 84,000 klesh, 84,000 impurities within us, all the ignorances that can arise through positive and negative experiences. All of that was snuffed out by Lord Buddha Shakyamuni, and he realized Sunyata. So with the form and emptiness, if you look at the computer system, if you look at the 0-1 binary system, you will have with form and emptiness, you have 1 as the on button and 0 as the off button for your computer. So, or even your phone or laptop, iPad, anything, TV, whatever, anything. The binary system for that, you have the on and off button is part of the binary system. So on is the masculine 1, number 1, and 0 is the off feminine. So that's literally. So when you turn on something, that's the number 1. When you turn off something, that's the number 0. So on is 1, off is 0. So what happens when Lord Buddha Shakyamuni meditated under the tree and turned off everything? He automatically realized Sunyata, because off, the off button is Sunyata. It's 0. Everything blacks out. Everything turns off. You turn off your computer, it's gone. Everything is gone. Like there's no information there. When you go to sleep, you turn off, like you don't exist, like the whole world turns off. It doesn't exist. When you wake up, you turn on. When you sleep, you turn off. It's the same thing. So when Lord Buddha Shakyamuni was meditating under the tree, he was turning off everything. He was turning off the world, and he literally turned off everything. And then what he realized the feminine. He realized Sunyata. He realized emptiness. And that's what it is. And that's how you do it. So the form world is this interactive world. And when you let go of the form world and you turn it off and you achieve cessation, you snuff out everything, you snuff out the flame for everything, then you do have direct access to Sunyata. And that's the process. So you have the on and the off, on masculine, off feminine. And Lord Buddha turned off everything and he experienced the off, he experienced the feminine, the 0. So when you turn off everything, it becomes 0. When you turn off everything, it becomes 0. Christ himself, when he was crucified, he was turned off. And then when he resurrected and when he came back, it's like empty form. So that's how you get rid of like the carnal state. That's how you get rid of the form. That's how you get rid of the illusion and the ignorance. To ultimately perceive Sunyata, to ultimately perceive the most subtle knowledge, to perceive 0, to perceive nothingness, to perceive like totally understand it and see reality for what it is. And that's more of your correct positioning, correct orientation. Otherwise, you'll be literally bound in this world system if you do not have the Sunyata software inside of you. You'll be bound within this world system. And once you embody the Sunyata software, you can rapture and go to heaven because you're not bound by this world anymore. We have this form world, and let's say if I'm directly facing the form world in terms of like my pre-awakening, say if I'm directly facing the form world and I have no concept of Sunyata, I've never heard of Sunyata, I don't know that Sunyata exists. I don't know Lord Buddha taught Sunyata. I just know Lord Buddha was enlightened. I don't know how he was enlightened, what he did to be enlightened. And I just perceive this form world as it is, or I don't have any other knowledge basis beyond what I'm born into naturally. And that's how it is. And then later I go through my awakening, I realize emptiness, and then my literal positioning in this world changes. So instead of perceiving reality for what it is, like if I see this and I look at this as this, and there's nothing outside this truth, that this is a pen and it's solid and it exists, and this is what it is, and there's nothing outside this. I cannot perceive anything outside this. But after I go through my awakening, what happens is your position changes and you come out of the form world and you go behind the form world, and then you stand in the zero space and you perceive the whole world as zero. You perceive the whole world as empty. And then everything becomes emptiness. Everything becomes zero. So before you were standing in the form world and everything was real and you were working really hard to get all of those things. And then later, after you awaken, you go behind the form world and then you perceive the form world from a different angle. You perceive the form world from the zero angle. You go behind the form. Or you were in front of the form, but now you go behind. You go behind the scenes. You go behind form, and you perceive form for what it is. So you literally change your position, and then you perceive all things as zero from the behind. You're like, wow, everything is zero. Everything's empty. That's how we change our orientation. That's how we change our positioning. You can perceive it as physics if you want. So you can perceive it as like the emptiness physics. You can perceive it as that. The sciences have their, they have some truth in their understanding, but it's not everything. It's like, it's not 100%. Like physics is not 100%. Gravity doesn't exist in the emptiness world. Gravity doesn't exist because everything that we study, all the subjects, all the different things that we have, absolutely everything on this world is spiritual. It's based on intelligence. It's just the misunderstanding and the misinterpretation of that. It's just someone perceived it incorrectly and they taught that knowledge incorrectly. It's just that. Let's say physics, biology, chemistry, all of that is real, but at the same time, it's not the complete thing. So physics is real, that physics understanding this world in terms of the physics reality that exists, you can understand it that way. But at the same time, there are a lot of incorrect things taught in physics. But also the concept of the physics can even help us understand SUNYATA because we know what physics is. We know what physics is doing. But if you apply SUNYATA in terms of the physics, you can apply SUNYATA in terms of physics, but just knowing SUNYATA is not enough. There are just many spiritual things that come along with that. And if you just pursue it intellectually, if you just pursue it in terms of physics, you will understand it, but you will not actively apply it in your life and you will not use it in that way. You will not apply in your life, and you will be bound within the physics. You will be bound in the physics. So the physics will bind you. But to overcome the physics, you have to realize SUNYATA. And that's the correct physics. It's like everything is zero is the correct physics. If you perceive the physics incorrectly, then you're bound by the rule of the physics. The gazillion rules that the mathematics you learn about the physics, all of that will bind you because guess what? You're not going to solve the physics. You do not have the mental capacity, or it's not even a thing, to be able to go in and learn physics and solve and know all the equations and solve all the equations. It's not a thing. The quickest way is to realize SUNYATA. When you realize SUNYATA, you master physics and you master the physical reality when you realize SUNYATA. So spirituality offers you a direct, short path and a tangible path where you are able to actually gain something. But if you go out there and you just do physics, math, and you just do physics, science, you are bound in the physics reality because you're not going to learn everything. It's not possible. If you can know about the quantum theory and you can know about the quantum universe and the quantum sciences and the quantum mathematics, but can you ever completely acquire the quantum knowledge? It's not even possible because it's infinite. And you will need like 1 trillion years to master sunyata through the quantum path. Because you have to absolutely know every equation. So Lord Buddha has made it really easy for us, and he has realized sunyata for us and taught us that form is emptiness, that you don't have to do math for form, that form is emptiness, everything is built on emptiness, everything is zero, everything is already solved, everything is already zero. So you do not have to do your math, um, everything is already solved. So all you have to do is now you have to realize it and you're done. No amount of math, science, physics, or quantum knowledge is going to save you. You'll be stuck within those. You will be bound in those rules. If you believe in quantum, you'll be bound in the quantum rule. If you believe in physics, you'll be bound by the physics rule. You have to let go of everything and realize sunyata, realize the correct form, realize the correct physics, which is zero. Everything is zero. Physics is zero. And if you want to be saved by Yeshua, you have to realize here, because Yeshua is emptiness, Yeshua is the form, Sunyata is the software, Yeshua is the hardware. So that's why the Sunyata knowledge is advanced. It's very difficult because it's subtle, because it's zero. If you want to describe what's the subtle level, it's the zero. So it's absolutely subtle. It's like non-existent subtle. So that's why it's a very advanced knowledge. And Vajrayana is known to be, like, say, the PhD of Buddhism. And in the end times, we have the Vajrayana. So it's basically your PhD of Buddhism. And Sunyata is the PhD of Buddhism. And you have to realize the highest knowledge, which is Buddhism. And you have the best teacher, which is Lord Buddha Shakyamuni. You cannot ask for a better teacher than Lord Buddha Shakyamuni. So you have Sunyata as your PhD level knowledge. So Vajrayana is the highest level. So that's why humanity will be put in their Vajrayana path, and they will have to realize the highest knowledge, that is Sunyata. So previously we did not have Sunyata. We did not have the Sunyata knowledge because we were in the high school, we were in the kindergarten, we were in the school age, we were in a Nirmanakaya. So we did not have the PhD because we were in the Hinayana path. And then let's say we were in the lower vehicle, and then you go in the higher vehicle. Like you said, you can say like this modern world offers us like the Mahayana, the slightly higher vehicle. Let's say back in the day when they did not have like education and schooling and this and that, you can say that is like, imagine trying to teach Sunyata then. Imagine trying to teach binary 1 and 0 back in the day when Buddha was teaching 2,500 years ago. So that would be a completely different landscape, completely different mindset. So teaching Sunyata would be so difficult. After that, you have like our modern world system that we understand physics, we understand mathematics, we understand sciences, we understand microbiology, we understand cells, we understand atoms, we understand all of those things. So explaining Sunyata is a little bit easier. It's a little bit like, oh yeah, we already studied about atoms, we studied physics, we studied math. So we have a nice background. We have a better ground and we have a better intellect to perceive Sunyata. It's like the ground's already been set up. This modern world, or whatever this world is, that have all the education and technology and sciences, it's like basically a stepping stone to realize the ultimate wisdom. So the science and technology is not the ultimate, but it's a stepping stone to realize the ultimate, which is everything is zero. So that's why you are even given like technology, you are given the computer, you are given all the modern amenities that we have, all the modern luxuries that we have, that we enjoy. We don't have to walk, we don't have to wash our clothes, we don't have to wash our dishes, we don't have to do this, we don't have to do that. All of those actually all teaches you towards learning Sunyata, teaches you towards acquiring the knowledge of Sunyata, because all of those things are even there in our environment to actually lead us, to actually help us perceive that Sunyata is the supreme and ultimate knowledge. Like when they say machinery is going to replace human beings, you will realize that as a human being, you are nothing as well. So if you don't realize sunyata, machine is just going to replace you. In the carnal world, the machine will replace you. So you're nothing. You have no value in the carnal world because you're sunyata, and you have to realize sunyata. And if you don't realize sunyata, you will become less than a machine. You'll become less than a robotoid because of your ignorance, because no one needs you, and your function is spiritual. So if you try to make it in the carnal, you cannot beat the carnal, because carnal is form, and it's mechanistic, and a better carnal will replace you. The robots will replace you. So you have to know your true spiritual nature. If you do not accept your true nature, which is knowing sunyata, if you do not accept your highest self, then a robot will replace you. And that's what your value will become. So all of this modern world system that we are part of, and all of the sciences and everything that we know and understand, it just gives us a better understanding towards sunyata. And that's why as a humanity, we are in the Vajrayana, and we have been given all of these modern systems, the sciences and technology, and all the knowledge that we have. We use technology, we know about atoms, we can study everything online, we have information in our fingertips. And all of that is for you to realize the highest knowledge, sunyata. It's not there for entertainment, it's not there for fun, it's not there to lead you astray, but it should be leading you more towards your path, because you have freedom to access information, to share information, to learn knowledge, all the knowledge that has been hidden, or all the knowledge that has been scattered across the world. We can all funnel it into the internet and learn from that space. That's what it's there for. That's why the internet was created. The internet is created with the masculine and feminine 0-1-0 binary system of form and emptiness. So you have that system, the internet, right there, the computer system right there for you to actually learn form and emptiness. So it's the perfect place to learn form and emptiness, because the entire computer structure is designed on form and emptiness. You have to look at it that way. So everything is spiritual and nothing is outside of the spiritual system. Everything is mother and father, everything is form and emptiness, everything is male and female, and nothing is outside that. We are all part of that system. And we have the form world because it is empty. We have the form world because of the feminine. We have the form world because the form is zero. In that way, you are able to basically overcome this entire world. And this is the Vajrayana space that you are in, and everything has been set up for you meticulously. So ultimately, you can realize sunyata, and that's your end goal. We have everything that we need in order to support each other, and in order to realize sunyata appropriately, not be tricked into the hardcore form world and be stuck in that, or worse, be sent to hell, but to realize sunyata, to realize form is emptiness, and to rapture and go to heaven. So that's your only path, that's your only way out of this world, is through learning sunyata. And it has already been taught in Buddhism how to exit this world. And it is not a new idea nor a new concept. It's not something that I made up, but it is written in the Buddhist scriptures, and that's what the ancient lamas and monks practice. They practice sunyata. Anyone that has exited this world as an arahat or a Buddha only exited this world through realizing sunyata. And that's the only way to do it. And apart from that, there is no other way. There is no other way to exit form. There is no other way to exit this concrete form world without the knowledge of sunyata. So, uploading the sunyata software inside of you, learning the perfection of wisdom by learning what Lord Buddha Shakyamuni has taught, by learning the Prajna Paramita texts. There are many different texts of Prajna Paramita. They all teach the same thing, but they are like 100,000, 800,000, 700. So depending on what your capacity is, the Prajna Paramita has different volumes of different levels, so that you can learn the Prajnaparamita text through that. And the Prajnaparamita teaches about emptiness. And the most condensed and the most popular form of the Prajnaparamita is the Heart Sutra, that directly gives you an insight into form is emptiness. And the form is emptiness comes from the Heart Sutra, and it is known across the world. Like form is emptiness, emptiness is form. It's known across the world for that reason, so that we can have a direct insight, we can have a direct understanding of form is emptiness. And that's what it is. It's not just like a concept, but form is emptiness. So when they say form is emptiness, emptiness is form is emptiness, form is made on zero. That's why it's there. And Lord Buddha Shakyamuni, when he first came to this earth, Lord Buddha Shakyamuni came as a peaceful being. Similarly, Yeshua, Son of God, in his first coming, he came as a peaceful being. He didn't resist the crucifixion, whatever was done to him. He accepted it as a compassionate, peaceful bodhisattva. Similarly, Sunyata, when Sunyata comes in the first, Sunyata will come in a peaceful state and giving teachings. Similarly, for Yeshua, Son of God, Shakyamuni, Lord Buddha, they'll be giving teachings. They'll try to wake people up, and they'll be extremely compassionate and loving and fun and vibrant and amazing. In the second coming, they will manifest in their wrathful state. So Lord Buddha Shakyamuni's wrathful emanation is the Kala Chakra deity. So the Kala Chakra, Hum and Shah, or the Kala Chakra, and Vishwamata, the Yabhyam of the Kala Chakra, the deity of the Kala Chakra, that's Shakyamuni, Lord Buddha, and his wisdom consort in their wrathful emanation. Shakyamuni, Lord Buddha, in his second coming will be a wrathful emanation. Yeshua, Son of God, in his second coming will be a wrathful emanation. Sunyata, in her second coming, will be a wrathful emanation. You can look at Yeshua, Son of God, how he fights in Armageddon in the end times, and he annihilates the demonic army, and he sends all the evil beings to hell. So that's their wrathful emanation. And you will see this parallel in the bardo. When the deities come to someone after their death, when they have just died and they're in the bardo state, in the intermediary state, the peaceful Buddha will come. And if the person doesn't recognize that person, then they will manifest. The same Buddha will manifest its wrathful emanation, hoping to wake that person up, because you can achieve complete Buddhahood in your bardo state during your death time. So if you've done correct spiritual practice in your life, in your bardo state, you will recognize the deity, and you will be a fully enlightened Buddha, and you can take refuge under that deity. So that same bardo system of first peaceful emanation, second wrathful emanation. The wrathful emanation is in the hopes that they can wake you up. So the first peaceful emanation, second wrathful emanation in that bardo system is the same for us in this, let's say in this 6,000-year-old trajectory. It's like this umbrella. It's like this canopy. You have like this massive 6,000 years is doing the same thing. So Lord Buddha Shakyamuni, Yeshua, Son of God, Sunyata, they'll all be doing the same thing. They'll first come as a peaceful being, and then in their second coming, it will be a wrathful state. And you will see how in the Great Tribulation, Sunyata's wrathful state will manifest. Shakyamuni, Lord Buddha's wrathful state will manifest. Our Father will pour his wrath upon the earth. Son of God's wrathful state will manifest, because that's just a spiritual system. That's just how it is in the universe, and that's just a spiritual system. And that's how it's going to be. Lord Buddha Shakyamuni came and he taught absolutely everything. He gave his entire kingdom up, and he sat under the tree for 6 years, achieving enlightenment. He did absolutely everything, gave all the knowledge, and you cannot point a finger at him and say, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, Yahweh, you didn't do this, God. You cannot say that, because look at Shakyamuni, Lord Buddha's life. That is Yahweh. So he gave absolutely everything. He put everything on the table, and he gave everything, and he taught everything. He taught the highest knowledge of Sunyata. Similarly, Yeshua, Son of God, we don't even have to speak about that, because he literally gave his life. He was crucified. He gave everything. So you cannot say, Yeshua, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. So they have already done their peaceful manifestation. They have taught, they have done what they have to do, and they have completely given up everything, given up themselves, and manifested in the charnel ground, performed the great tantras, and did everything in their peaceful state in the hopes to wake people up. And if you do not get that information, if you do not get Lord Buddha Shakyamuni Pragyaparamita, if you do not get Yeshua, Son of God's crucifixion, if you do not get the Sunyata teaching system, If you do not get all of that, then you will have to face the next installment, which is the wrathful installment, most likely in the tribulation or in hell. So in the first, you will get that opportunity to experience the peace of the Buddha, peace of Yeshua, peace of Sunyata. You will get to experience that. So you will learn in that space. If you do not get it, then you will learn within the wrathful state. Then you will be walking up through that. And if you still don't get it, then you will end up in hell. And hell is like the ultimate wrathful state. So hope you are able to perceive sunyata in the end times. Hope you can cut through the solidity that is this world. And you can only cut through the form solidity with wisdom. You cannot cut through the solidity, you cannot cut through the form world with anything but with wisdom. And what is the wisdom? The wisdom of emptiness, the wisdom of zero, knowing that form is emptiness, emptiness is form. That's the wisdom that you need in order to cut through solidity, which is this physical, tangible, concrete world. So you have to basically take this concrete world and make it malleable. You have to do that. And you do that through the knowledge of sunyata. And sunyata is basically one medicine that cures all. So sunyata is the one medicine that cures everything, literally everything. The entire duality problem, the entire physical reality problem is solved by sunyata. So sunyata is the cure-all. Sunyata cures absolutely everything. You do not have to fear sunyata, or the monks that believe that, oh, we can't teach sunyata, people are afraid of sunyata. Let go of that, because if you do not know sunyata, the danger is this reality that we have. The danger is pedophilia, adrenochrome, murder, rape. The danger is hunger, poverty. The danger is hell. The danger is ignorance if you do not know sunyata. So don't fear sunyata, because sunyata is the cure-all. Like, there is no other thing. Like, if you are going to say, I'm going to do this or that to achieve my rapture, it's not going to work, because you have to follow the function. You have to follow the system. You have to follow the binary system, 0, 1, how your computer works, how your phone works. You have to follow that. And that's how you can exit this reality, is through the knowledge of sunyata. So do not fear sunyata, and do not believe in that ignorant thought, because sunyata is a cure-all. And only through sunyata you're able to alleviate all your suffering, and you're able to exit Egypt and go to the promised land, and you're able to go from samsara to nirvana, or you're able to exit this reality and go into the dharmakaya to our Father in heaven during your great tribulation. So you exit samsara in your great tribulation, you exit the charnel ground in your great tribulation through the knowledge of sunyata, zero, emptiness. And that's the only way. That's how our entire universe is designed after. It is designed as form is emptiness and emptiness is form.